What if I told you that some of the greatest cameras ever made were completely ignored when they launched, laughed at, shelved, forgotten, and yet somehow they solved problems that modern cameras are still trying to fix in 2026? Today we're going back to dig 8 of them up. And I promise you, at least one of these is going to make you angry that you didn't know about it sooner. The camera industry has always moved fast, but fast doesn't mean forward. Sometimes the most revolutionary ideas showed up in a body that got zero marketing budget, a weird name, or launched in the wrong year. These cameras didn't fail because they were bad. They failed because the world wasn't ready. This is Top 5 Picks, where we don't chase specs, we chase soul. Let's get into it. Number 8, Contax T, a camera that screamed luxury before luxury cameras were even a concept. The Contax T, released in 1984, so beautifully engineered, so obsessively precise that it made every other compact on the market look like a toy. It was titanium. It had a Zeiss T-coated lens in 1984, and almost nobody bought it because it cost as much as a decent used car. Here's the irony. Today, everyone wants a premium compact. The Fujifilm X100 sells out instantly. The Ricoh GR3 has a waiting list. Leica charges thousands for a point-and-shoot. All of that existed in 1984. It was the blueprint, and the industry took 40 years to catch up. Find one today, you're looking at $800 to $1,200, and it's worth every single cent. Number 7, Minolta Dynax 9. This was Minolta's final absolute everything, their masterpiece. Released in 1998, built entirely of magnesium alloy, fully weather-sealed with a 1/12,000th second shutter speed. In 1998, sports photographers who shot with it called it better than anything Canon or Nikon offered at the time. The AF was fast, the build was military grade, the ergonomics were perfect. Then Sony bought Minolta, killed the brand, and it was erased from history. But those same Sony engineers took everything they learned from Minolta's AF system and built it into the Alpha series. The Dynax 9 is the ghost inside every Sony camera you've ever loved. You can pick one up for under $200, a professional magnesium-bodied SLR for under $200. That's not a camera deal, that's a crime scene. Number 6, Nikon Coolpix 950, a digital camera from 1999 with a 2.11 megapixel sensor. And before you roll your eyes, hear me out. It had a swiveling body design that split the camera in two, lens on one side, screen on the other, and you could rotate them independently. The predecessor to every flip screen, every articulating LCD, every vlogging camera you've ever seen. Street photographers loved it because they could shoot from the hip and actually see the frame. Documentarians used it because they could point the lens somewhere while looking somewhere else entirely. This camera was building a creative workflow in 1999 that YouTube and TikTok creators are still trying to optimize today. Every modern vlogging camera owes it a debt it will never. Number 5, Olympus E1, part of something enormous that the industry simply refused to accept. Olympus and Kodak co-developed the Four Thirds standard, a completely open universal lens mount that any manufacturer could build lenses for. One mount, infinite compatibility, no more being locked into a single ecosystem. It was open source thinking applied to camera hardware. It was visionary, it was generous, and Canon and Nikon looked at it, built higher walls around their systems, and let it die. The camera itself was stunning, weather-sealed, colors that Olympus was famous for, but what it represented, a truly open system, never got a fair chance. Every time you pay $500 for a proprietary lens that only works on one brand, remember this camera. Remember what could have been. Number 4, Sigma DP2 Merrill. This one is cult territory, and I mean that as the highest possible compliment. Inside this small, awkward, slow, terrible, and low-light body was a Foveon X3 sensor that captured color completely differently from every other camera on Earth. Instead of interpolating color data the way normal sensors do, it stacked 3 layers of photo detectors, one for red, one for green, one for blue, and captured every color at every pixel. The result? Images with a 3-dimensional quality, a micro detail, and a color accuracy that no other compact camera and very few full-frame cameras could touch. It was infuriating to use, slow, picky about light, battery life measured in minutes, and the files were enormous. But when you got it right, the images looked painted, they looked alive, they looked like nothing a clinical algorithm-sharpened modern camera ever produces. This wasn't a camera for everyone. It was a camera for people who understood that suffering is sometimes the price of beauty. Number 3, Fujifilm Natura S. This might be the most heartbreaking camera on this entire list. Released in Japan in 2004, never officially sold in most of the world, and yet among film photographers, it is spoken about in whispers like a holy relic. Why? Because it had a 28mm f1.9 lens on a point-and-shoot film camera, f1.9. That lens, paired with Fuji's own Natura 1600 ISO film, meant you could shoot in absolute darkness, candlelight, dim bars, unlit streets, and get frames that felt like memories, warm, soft, breathing with grain and light. It was designed for a specific Japanese cultural moment, nightlife, youth, intimacy, and it captured that perfectly. Every frame looks like a photograph you took at 2 a.m. at a party you'll remember forever. It now sells for $400 to $800 used for a point and shoot, because some cameras don't just take pictures, they change how a moment feels. Number 2, Ricoh GXR, the most radical concept in camera history that nobody talks about. Launched in 2009, it was a modular camera system, but not modular in the lens swapping sense. It swapped entire camera units, sensor and lens together as a sealed, optimized module. You weren't just changing lenses, you were changing cameras. Each module was engineered as a complete optical system, no compromise between sensor and glass. It was brilliant. In a world moving toward computational photography and AI optimization, where every element of the system needs to know exactly what every other element is doing, the GXR said, what if the lens and sensor just talked perfectly because they were built as one? It failed commercially. Ricoh discontinued it in 2015, but look at what's coming now. Sealed computational camera units, AI-optimized lens sensor pairs, phone cameras where the entire imaging stack is one unified system. The GXR wasn't wrong. It was just speaking in a language 2009 wasn't ready to hear. One of the greatest cameras nobody ever bought. Number 1, Konica Hexar AF. This one, the more I learn about it, the more I believe it might be genuinely perfect. The Konica Hexar AF, 1993, a 35mm point-and-shoot with a 35mm f2 hexanon lens, one of the sharpest, most character-rich lenses ever put in a consumer camera. An autofocus system so fast and accurate that street photographers still talk about it like it's magic, and a silent mode so quiet that you could shoot in a library, at a dinner table, in a moment so private that the camera almost felt invisible. It was designed for the decisive moment. It understood that photography isn't about equipment, it's about access. Access to moments that disappear the second you're noticed. Leica has charged $5,000 to $10,000 for that promise. For decades, Konica delivered it in 1993 for the price of a nice dinner out. Then Konica left the camera business, and it became a ghost. If you find one in an old camera shop, in a estate sale, tucked under glass somewhere, you buy it. No questions. No hesitation. You hold a piece of camera history that solved the hardest problem in photography, how to disappear so the world forgets you're there.